Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Amazing Conversations. I am your host, Andrea Revills, and tonight I have a special surprise, a long-time friend, church member. I'm telling you, I've known this man for a mighty long time, and his name is none other than Mr. Michael Fowler. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Great to be here.
Great. So glad to have you. So again, I could take time to try and introduce you, but your resume is so long. I mean, I'm telling you, I've already spoken to my producer, and I was like, look, you're just going to have to post some of this because your resume is longer than my show.
Wow. Yeah.
But again, that's to be commended because a lot of times you find people, they're busy doing things, but not doing it on the level that you're doing it.
Yes, ma'am.
And what I mean by that is you are the portrait of a public servant.
That's what I want to be.
Now, many people don't know you actually had a whole nother career. And when most people retire, they go home, they do what they love. I know you like to fish. And
Yes.
Probably do. You could say, I'm going home and I'm just going to fish every day. But no, not Mr. Fowler. Mr. Fowler decided to pick up a whole nother career, not just as it relates to a day-to-day 8 to 5, but even the political arena. And I tell you, that's just to be commended because, again, that takes you giving of yourself, and you have definitely done that. So I wanted to have this conversation with you today because many of you know, of course, the state of our economy, our world. We're still dealing with the pandemic and the issues surrounding that. And I know that you have been on the front line, of course, for the residents of Dougherty County especially. But again, even to other parts of, I say, the world, because Pastor Fowler, and listen, let me tell you, you may hear me switch up some because, again, he and I, we have several relationships. So sometimes if I call him Pastor Fowler or if I call him Coroner, just know that I'm talking about the same person, okay? But even, as far back as some of the world disasters, I know that you were involved. Was it in Mexico? I know you had gone
Thailand, Puerto Rico, Haiti.
Yes.
London, different places.
Wherever there's a need, I mean, you pack up and you go. Yes. And, that's to be commended. But here recently, again, you've been, of course, dealing with and been a advocate and a voice for the citizens of Dougherty County as it relates to the pandemic, COVID-19. Yes. Now, we all know, or it's been in the news and, of course, shared, that the pandemic or the COVID-19 hit little, small Albany, Georgia, with a bang. It was unseen, unexpected, and, of course, everybody had to scramble and try and get in line to see, okay, what do we do? How do we deal with it? And you were one of the ones that was right on the onset because, again, as I mentioned, with you being the coroner, you started, I'm sure, seeing things that you had never seen before. So I don't want to prolong my time. I want to take some time and just let you kind of share, some of what you've seen and what you've experienced.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, like I said, with you. As you had said earlier, I retired from the GBI Medical Examiner's Office, and I also travel around the country on the disaster team, dealing with disasters. And to me, this pandemic here in our communities is a disaster, something that we was not prepared for, used to, or was not ready for.
Right.
Like I said, from the World Trade Center, from Haiti, Puerto Rico, Irma. I mean, I've been all over the world dealing with disasters. This pandemic hit different because it was something that we was not, prepared for. You can get on higher ground for a flood or shelter for a tornado, but this pandemic is something that you couldn't see.
Right.
Once it's happened, it hit our community back in March. I was shocked that this pandemic had hit. I felt obligated as being a servant of the community, a public servant. I feel that I should do all I possibly can to help save lives. I deal with death. That's my job, is pronouncing, finding out why a person died. But I felt obligated that I wanted to save lives because I realized it could have been one of my family members, a loved one. So I've dealt with anthrax, Ebola, all kinds of diseases that's out there in my career. So when this pandemic hit, I know probably many of the police officers and EMS that had never dealt with a disaster like this when it hit. We had heard a few weeks about the pandemic was here in the United States. We didn't know it was going to get all been in that quick. But once it hit March the 15th, I had 3 deaths, similar to the same thing. People was coughing, running fevers, and I had all 3 of the individuals tested. And before the week out, I found out all of them was positive.
Wow.
So that of keeping it quiet, I felt it was our obligation as a team. I got with the commissioner, the mayor, the EMS. We got together, decided we need to put this out. We need to cover it up because most people are not used to a pandemic. What do you do? How you keep from getting it? So we were doing a lot of research on the front end. I was wearing masks and also wearing gloves, but I wanted to make sure we protect all the EMS guys, all the police, because we found out one of the police officers got infected that same case. So I wanted to help protect them.
Right.
So I feel obligated to give back to my community. So I got involved, and I don't think I should sit back. I've heard number of people say, "You the coroner, why you worry about this?" No, I felt obligated. And you say as a pastor, as a community leader, I felt I should do all I possibly can to save life, and that's what I was doing.
Well, and you know, to say that it actually kind of seems a little awkward to some people because, again, as you mentioned, with you being a coroner, your profession or your job is dealing with the deceased or those that have transpired in transition.
Yes.
But I'll say you definitely are an advocate for saving lives. I mean, I know even with you when you implemented the swim program.
Yes.
You know, because so many children, summertime, they're out of school, they're going to pools. But with you, with your campaign to give free swimming lessons to children, so that in hopes if they ever come, you know, to a situation with a body of water, that they didn't have to let that be their last breath that they take because you implemented that program. And I think that's excellent. Even down to when you mentioned about saving lives and not keeping it a secret. Okay, let's bring it to the forefront. I'll say again, because we are in the same church, we attend First Albany Deliverance or Evangelical Faith Vision Ministries, where Pastor Fowler pastors America's Holiness Deliverance Church Temple in Americas. But I remember in March of 2020, we were actually in a service, and you came and you presented to the body that night. You talked to the body that night about ways that we could protect ourselves. And I just have to believe that, you know, your willingness to share, of course, our senior pastors' openness to you to come up and educate the body. I just believe that that's what carried us through a lot of last year, where a lot of churches, you know, sad to say, we're experiencing a lot of this. That's just something that we didn't experience.
Right.
And I just believe that's because we were able to get ahead of it.
Yes.
So saving lives is definitely something that you as a coroner, I've seen you do it. I mean, again, you're very active in the community. And I was even thinking about, honestly, Pastor Fowler, prior to you becoming coroner, I didn't even know who the coroner of Dougherty County was. And I'm saying that not to, you know, diminish anybody else's time in office.
Right.
But I'm saying that from a point of when you came on the scene, you came on boots on the ground. You came on making a difference. When I saw the little boy, I don't know who this little boy is, but if his mother or any family members are watching this show, I want you to comment in our live session. But I remember the little boy dressed up because he said he wanted to be the coroner like Michael Fowler.
I remember that.
Yes. I mean, that was just so impressive to me because I'm telling you, prior to that, nobody's child was talking about they wanted to be the coroner.
Yes.
But you, my friend, you you have made the coroner position. I mean, you have given it a totally new light. I mean, even down to I told somebody, I said, when you see that Jeep coming down the road, coroner. Now, mind you, it puts us all on alert. Oh, where the coroner going? You know.
Yes.
But at the same time, you've given that position a face.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. As I ran my campaign back in 2011 and 12, going into the election, I said I wanted to carry the coroner's office to a different level. I think the person should make the title, not the name. Most time people go in and the name, they want to go up on a name and use that. But I want to make the name because of the experience and the knowledge that I've had working with the GBI and traveling all over the country. I wanted to enhance it and make it better. Many coroners now are doing things now. I have many coroners calling me what I can do to get involved in my community. And it's not even about me. And I think we as a group of individuals should be trying to push our community forward. And as being a leader, I don't have to be the mayor, I don't have to be a commissioner, I don't have to be a governor. I can just be the coroner and do my job, and God will raise you up.
Right. So you're a team player.
And I think that's very important. You got to be a team player. I mean, you can't sit back. I think, like I said, finding ways. Since I started to swim for life, we have not had one kid drown in Dougherty County.
So the results is there.
It's in the. I mean, you gotta do things like this. You get results. You can check and see is it working. So things like that working. We doing the drug awareness. I'm going to different schools talking about the drugs. We did the big event at the Civic Center twice. And none of the kids that we dealing with. Same thing with suicide. I'm pushing suicide.
Exactly.
So all those things right now, and I'm thinking it's making an impact here in Dougherty County, and I think that's what we got to do. And even as being corners all over Southwest Georgia, I push corners. I have many corners come sit down and ask me questions. Governor Kemp appointed me to the corners board. I'm on the black on the board. Been in 30 years. I'm on the black there. So, and I want to make an impact there. I just don't want to hold a title. I want to make the title.
Well, you know, and I've always admired and loved you. Most of the time I say, how you doing today? You say, excellent, excellent. And that's your motto. I mean, that's your statement. Is everything that I've seen you do. You do it with a spirit of excellence. My husband, which is his friend and his senior pastor, he said, I wonder, does Pastor Fowler even own a t-shirt? Because every time you see him, he is fully decked. You know, as they say, I mean, open casket sharp. This is our coroner. He's always sharp.
I want to represent. And that's my philosophy in educating other coroners. I don't want to walk in an individual house with jeans and t-shirt. Regardless, I'm going to Harlem, or whether I'm going to South Albany, whether I'm going to Dougherty, whether I'm going to North Albany, I want to represent this office. I don't want to be picks and chooses. No, wherever I'm going, I want to represent. I want people to recognize that I'm trying to bring into a professional level that never been there before.
Absolutely.
So I want people to know that I'm carrying that profession inside of me. It's the passion that I have, and I owe it to you to be professional. I owe it to you to have the knowledge and to know what I'm doing.
Right. Well, I'm telling you, Pastor Fowler, you definitely have raised the bar, and you've raised it high. So I don't know what your future aspirations are, but whoever comes behind Pastor Michael Fowler, Coroner Fowler, you know, they got to come bring it, because you set the bar. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about as it relates to COVID. I know you and I had a little bit of a conversation before, and I was asking as it relates to vaccinations. You know, you hear mixed things, and someone was telling me, and I don't know how true it is, but I was told that if you get the vaccination, that if you test positive, that of course you have to wait 90 days before you get the vaccination. Do you have any insight or knowledge as it relates to that?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I'm not a scientist. I do a lot of reading and studying and questioning, trying to find out what the best thing to do. So my family members, when they had the virus and when they got over the virus, I talked to the Department of Public Health, Dr. Lewis, and different ones trying to find out how soon could they get the test. I've heard 90 days, I heard 60 days, I heard 10 days or whatever. So I heard that was not the true event. I've seen that on some of the reading, but I went on and got my loved one vaccine because they said that as soon as they tested negative, you can go ahead and get the vaccine.
Okay.
And I encourage the community to get the vaccine. I mean, it's up to you. You decide whether or not to get it. But I think if you have a question, check with your doctor, your personal doctor, and also check and read and study. Before polio came in, somebody had to start doing it before, I mean, the flu shot. We trust that. It's just like in a profession. When you go to the mechanic shop, whatever the mechanic say need to be done, you trust them, even though sometimes they may hook with you sometimes.
Right.
So then the same thing with the science. I gotta trust it because some kind of protection has been no protection at all.
Right.
So I'm just taking a chance. I had both of the shots. I have had no side effects at all. My wife had it. I mean, we doing fine. I heard someone say that their arm was a little sore, or maybe the next day they kind of ran a little slight temperature and they took a Tylenol and they was doing all right the rest of the time. So I'm saying to say, I'd rather take a chance and get the vaccine. What kind of pushed me a little bit more, if the president and the vice president get the vaccine, they ain't gonna put nothing out there if it's unsafe.
Yeah, you're right about that, Pastor Fowler. And I'll tell you, I think some of the apprehension came from, of course, we all know about the Tuskegee Airmen experiment.
Yes.
And I even heard somebody say, well, they're taking one vaccine, but they're giving all of us brownies another one. You know, and you know, a lot of it has to do with Americans, especially African Americans.
Yes.
And their trust in the government.
Right.
Because we have, you know, been victimized and been the victim of some unscrupulous behavior.
Yes.
So I think that's where some of the apprehension comes from. I do agree with you. It's one of those things where you ultimately have to, and because I'm a believer and you're a believer, you ultimately have to put your faith in God.
You got to.
And trust that, okay, you know, this what they're saying is gonna help me. But ultimately, you just have to trust Him that He's gonna see about it.
Like, and I was talking to someone the other day. True enough, I have to trust I trust God. I believe God put scientists here, doctors here for a reason.
I agree.
So if someone really wanted to get to our community, they could put something in your water. So I mean, so just saying about a vaccine, it's different that they would just give a vaccine to a certain segment of people, a certain section of the town. But if all races are taking it, all the political peoples are taking it, the president, like I said, the vice president, all of them taking it, then, so to me, I don't think I'm a guinea pig. I'm a guinea pig if you're just trying it on me and before you try it on yourself. So then, like I said, they could put something in your water. How you know what they not putting something in your water? How you know lead and stuff is not in our water? We just have to trust God, whatever we do. How I know this chair gonna hold me up? I took a chance and sit down in this chair. So anything can happen. So I'm trying to say that's why I took a chance on the vaccine. Well, I'm looking at the science and I know they created this vaccine so quick. Well, in a year's time, I know it hadn't had a lot of tests that normally vaccine do. But then I think they put a lot of effort in it and they took a chance with it. And Dr. Fawcett, and all I'm saying, it's working. I'm taking a chance. I don't know too many people that have been around. It's number of people that I've been around with the virus. I have not had any of the symptoms or been contracted the virus or carried home to my family. So I'm trying to say I'm doing fine. That's why I say the one that's 65 and older, the one that have underlying medical condition, what you got to lose?
Right.
I don't know. No one died from this virus from getting the shot that I know got the shot here in Dougherty County.
No one that you have.
I don't know. No one person had zero people. They had zero death from taking this shot.
Okay. Well, and that takes me to the other question I was actually going to ask you. Being a believer, one who has faith and believe in God, a lot of times that's what people say. I'm trusting God. He gonna cover me, and I don't need this. But I was going to ask, as it relates to your spiritual knowledge of Christ versus just the science. How how do you advise your congregants as it relates to if they should take the shot? I mean, because what you said to me sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your belief, and that's what you pretty much try and teach your people?
I believe in trusting God. I can go back, even back from March. I'm being around individuals with the virus every day. And my church was open during March, April, May, during that time.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did do, nobody in my congregation got the virus.
Mm-hmm.
We did temperature check. We sprayed shoes. We sanitized our hand. We practiced social distance. We did everything that scientists say do.
Mm-hmm.
But we trusted God while we was going to the church.
Yes.
So I feel God gonna do his part, but God ain't gonna do what you can do for yourself. So if I do all I can do, I'm thinking, hey God, I gotta trust the science, and I'm gonna take the shot, and I'm leaving it in your hand. But God ain't gonna let no harm come to me that he wasn't planning for it to happen to me. So God gonna protect me. So even no weapon formed against me gonna prosper. That's what I believe in, and I teach the people that God got you covered. So we trust the science and do everything we possibly can. Is then you leave it in God's hand. That's when your faith kick in. I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do, and God, I'm just trusting that you're gonna do the rest.
So that's the faith.
That's the faith I believe in.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna sit back and saying that I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna wear no mask. I'm not gonna practice social distance. But you're gonna trust God. Well, I'm saying I have a problem with that, because I think it's important that we respect the person that God, like I said, why God put doctors here, why he put scientists here, why he put mechanics here, why he put food service people here. He put them here for a reason, so everybody can have their expertise. So my philosophy is, wherever a person is professional in their lane, I'm gonna respect you in that lane. So do the best you can, and you do the best you can. And I don't think God will let nothing come to me that don't supposed to come to me.
I agree with you. And again, I guess that's the faith without works.
Right.
Is dead, because again, if we're getting the information and we choose not to do it, and just to say, no, God has me covered, I don't need a mask, I'm not gonna wash my hands, which you should be doing anyway. If you choose to say that, then that's not good enough. But when you trust God, I'm going to do all that I know to do, and whatever I may fall on or I don't know to do, then you're going to cover me on the rest.
I had a pastor, I can't want to even call his name, he said the same thing, that I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to wear a mask, and my congregation going to keep going. He died, and his wife died.
Oh, no.
So I'm trying to say this thing is real. Some of his members in the congregation got the virus. But he was trusting in God. I'm not like I said, God can't do anything.
Yes,
I believe he can do
yes,
anything. But we got to do what we can do for ourselves.
That's right.
So I encourage people, I mean, you don't want to take the vaccine, well, keep wearing your mask, keep practicing social distance, keep on washing your hand. But we need to set up this herd immunity in our community that eventually we can go back and start doing weddings. We can start back going to class reunion, graduation. We can start going on vacation. But if everybody not doing it, then they create a problem.
That's right.
So I want to eliminate that problem, because I want a vacation. I haven't had a vacation all year, so I want to get out.
You need a vacation, because I'm telling you.
But I feel I can't go because so many people are still dying.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just had this morning, I had 3 deaths. All 3 of them had COVID. I'm trying to say, this thing is real.
It's real.
And so I'm passionate about it because I see it. I go to the emergency room, I go to the MIC unit and see these people hooked up to machines and ventilators and stuff. Wow. And I look at it, it could have been my mama, it could have been my wife, it could have been my children.
Right.
So I'm going to do all I possibly can to keep them from going up there. So not just my family, but I'm going to try to do all I can to help my community not to go up there.
Well, and that's what we need to hear, because again, you and I, we had a bit of a conversation before. I know we can't stop living.
You can't.
But we do have to find a way to adjust and adapt to.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got to.
And I wanted to ask you this before I forget. So in the event someone gets the vaccine, let's say they just have their first vaccine, are those people contagious for people that may be around them that may not have had the vaccine yet? Is there any scientific knowledge that you're aware of?
If a person gets the first shot, so people got to realize they're not putting the virus in you.
So that's not
No,
what...
that's not the virus they putting inside of you.
Okay, see, and I always thought, because it's just like with the flu
Yeah.
shot. They said they're injecting you with the flu.
This is not the virus they put in you for to build up an immune system. It's not that. I'm not a scientist, like I said, but in my knowledge, this don't have anything to do with the COVID-19 they put in use so you can build up an immune system. That is not so.
Well, I'm glad he clarified that
so.
Because that was a thought, and
Many
someone
people
said
think that.
Yes.
Many people think that is not so. Look at. We got to study. We got to do research. The lack of knowledge.
People perish.
I mean, people perish because of lack of knowledge. So I think you got to study and do your research. But this is not the virus they're putting into your system.
Okay. And you mentioned the term a little earlier, just for our audience. Could you kind of elaborate a little more on when you mentioned herd immunity?
Well, I think if more people get this shot and build up this immune system in our community, it's gonna be better for everyone. I mean. And like I said, I love going to basketball games. I love going to games, doing things in the community. I love going to parties and things like that. So, but we all got to do it. One person can contaminate the whole room.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say, if one person got the virus and go in there, and the same thing, I try to encourage people riding in cars together. You can have 4 people in the car. One person got the virus and your windows roll up and the air circulating. Before it's over, all of them could be contaminated.
Wow.
So that's why you got to be careful who you riding with, who you hanging with. You don't know who that person been around with. So my thing is this: if you're gonna be around a crowd, if you decide to go on vacation or whatever, when you come back off vacation, do temperature checks. Do a test, rapid test, or some. You got the 3-day test. You got the rapid test. You need to do some kind of test to make sure that you're not bringing the virus back to the rest of your family members. So my kids go out of town sometimes, so they test before they go a lot of time, then they test when they get back. They do the temperature check. You just don't know because you ride in an airplane or you going to the mall and having a good time with your friends or whatever. Some of them might be not taking all the precautions that you are.
Right.
So you got to be careful.
You have to be careful. Okay. Well, Pastor Fowler, I really appreciate you taking time to share this information. Is there anything else that you would like to mention that you think would be helpful for the people that are watching? Because again, I'm like you. I like doing things, and pretty much now my life has been restricted to home and the office, which is a control group of people. But I like to enjoy life, and I want to live. And I mean, not just be breathing, but I want to enjoy my life.
I mean, the people here in Dougherty County that know me, they know I'm a truthful person. I'm straight up and I don't play game. We have the virus here in our community. It hit hard in Dougherty County. The governor have opened up a site here in Dougherty County. 1,100 shots can be given a day. And I heard the other day only 47 people sign up for it.
Wow. So
I'm trying to say we can lose this site and go somewhere else, then we decide we want to take it, it's too late. So I'm trying to say, I don't encourage the people to go take the vaccine. I mean, speak with your pastor, speak with your doctor, do your research, but I hate for you, people are still being infected every day. People are still going to the hospital. It's not as prevalent as it was back in March, April, May. But people still dying. Still dying. So I want them to think about it, consider it. If you got a question, you can call, and we're willing to answer any question that you have because it's in our community. I'm black. I'm Afro-American. And I know it hit our community harder than it hit any other race in our community. Right.
So let me ask you, because I did hear about the site that's giving the 1,100 vaccines.
Yes.
But on another note, because I know I was talking to one of the offices and they were like, you have to be 65 or older unless your doctor gives you an exemption if you have underlying health conditions. So how can people that may not be 65 yet, but they want the vaccine, is there a way that they can?
Well, that's one of the problems that I have. And as I said again, I'm a realist. This thing has been opened up now. The vaccine has been here for a few months. The first responders, the medical profession, they've been given the right to go ahead and get it done. 65 and older have the right in 1A. To me, if 1A refused to take the shot, You got too many other people that need to take the job. The teachers,
right?
The funeral profession, where they say they begin at. You got pastors, churches. I mean, there's a lot of people that will need to take the vaccine. So the one that got the door should be going in if you got the opportunity to go. Then my philosophy is, and eventually I think the governor is supposed to be making a notice that he can open it up to 1B. So I would be glad when he open it up so that we other peoples can go ahead and take the vaccine. The 1A, you had your opportunity time to get it. If you haven't gotten it yet, then let's move on to someone else.
What is 1B?
1B, he's supposed to give the breakdown.
Okay.
He mentioned about teachers and other individuals that we're going to get today.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, listen, that's been great information. Again, I thank you for the time that we've had today. You enlightened us. And listen, if you enjoyed this conversation, I do encourage you to like our Facebook page, Evangelical Faith Vision Ministry. I ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. This particular series is important information that we need to spread the word. This is our very own Dougherty County resident citizen coroner. He's here for us. He's the voice. Listen, and you may see him out. I don't know how much you're going to see him out now because of all this going on. But he is that dude. He is likable. He doesn't mind answering your questions. You know, if you have a question and it hasn't been answered today, if you see him, I'm sure he probably even has do you have a website? Because your resume, he needs a website. Do you have a website?
Well, I have the Dougherty County website, but you can always call me.
Okay.
And I have my phone on 24 hours a day.
Okay.
229-347-1157.
The true epitome of a public servant. He just gave out his cell phone number. I don't even give out my cell phone number like that. But I thank God for people like our coroner, Pastor Michael Fowler. Again, thank you for joining Amazing Conversations today. I am your host, Andrea Revills. Thank you for joining. Oh, and one last thing. I also want to give a shout out to his wife, Carolyn Fowler.
Thank you.
She is excellent. She and he work together beautifully in pastoring their congregation, and she too is in the health profession, but I know that he couldn't do what he does without the support of her. So I want to give a shout out to her as well. And also my husband, Apostle Felix Revills. We love you. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great night.